Directions for creating your app art. Remember your name and teacher code. You're going to start by dividing your paper, and I'm making little marks to see kind of where the halfway point is before I draw my lines. You'll basically have a big plus that goes from top to bottom and side to side on your paper, so you have 4 sections to start. Then you'll add some diagonal lines that divide up your squares into 3 sections. So I'm going to start from one corner and go across the other. Make sure that you're going through the kind of middle point you created with that sort of plus, those intersecting lines you made, so that they all cross at the same point in the middle of your paper. So 2 lines. Make sure you're holding that ruler securely and drawing your lines nice and light. When you're finished, you should have 12 spaces. If it's not quite exact, that's okay. Just make sure that you have an even amount of spaces. Next, we're going to add lines that kind of create hills and dips. You're going to do the opposite in every section of the little triangles that you created. So you're going to do the opposite every time. Make sure that they connect when you add these lines. Then you're going to go around and repeat this again, sticking with that kind of same pattern. So if you did a hill, you're going to stick with the hill. If you did a dip, you're going to stick with the dip in that same little triangular section. And work your way around. On the 3rd time around, or maybe you do more depending on your space, your lines might start to go off the edge of your paper, and that's okay. You'll just have less sections. It kind of looks like a spider web once you add your wavy lines. And then you will mark out the spaces that you're going to color in. So it's kind of like a checker pattern, and you're doing every other. This just helps us to kind of stay on track and not accidentally color in a spot we don't want color. Make sure your X's are very light and very small so you're able to easily color over top of them. Any dark colored marker will work. You could use these or the Mr. Sketch, or you can simply use a Sharpie like I am. And then in the spaces where you added the X, you're going to color in. I highly recommend that you outline the space that you're coloring in first. This kind of helps your lines to be smooth when you're coloring in the space. Taking your time, being sure to stay inside the lines. And you simply just repeat this by coloring all the spaces that you marked with an X. Then you'll start with a white colored pencil, and right in the middle of the triangle shape, you're going to make it very, very bright white by using quite a bit of pressure. So this is just like shading, where you're using a lot of pressure, holding it nearer to the lead, really pressing down. And then as you get closer to the edge of the triangle shape, you're going to use a little bit less pressure so that white kind of fades. And then when you add into the other section, make sure that your white is lining up to create the idea that the highlight continues in that same little section in the correct area. Same exact thing, use quite a bit of pressure where you're coloring with the white, and then gradually use less pressure as you get towards the edge of the triangle. You repeat this for each section, making sure that those highlights are lined up in each of the little triangle spaces. For the last step, you'll use an ebony pencil to add a little shading. I'm holding kind of near the back of the pencil because I don't want it to be too dark. I don't want a really bold line here. I kind of want a medium gray. And just a little bit. You can always go back and add more, but it is a little bit tricky to take it away. So hold kind of a little bit farther back from the pencil lead. Add a little gray on there on each side of the white spaces in each triangle space. And then you're going to use your finger to blend it out. So we're not using our finger to blend across the entire space because we want the middle to be white. So use your finger to kind of blend out just a little bit, leaving the middle part bright white. So it kind of mimics the same thing we did with the white pencil. Same process for the entire thing. Start on the edge with a little bit of medium gray, not a really dark, hard line, on both sides of the triangle in all the white spaces, and then carefully use your finger to blend it out, just not all the way into the middle. We want to leave the middle of that triangle shape bright, bright white so it matches up with our highlight that we created with the white colored pencil.